Oh,
On my phone. Okay.
what you doing, Bo?
So
Bo. All right, what do we got?
these are all books I want to read soon.
Oh, that light's kind of throwing it off a little bit. Try it over there. There you go. That's a little better.
Okay. These are all books I want to read soon.
Okay.
And I want you to pick it.
You're gonna let me pick the book that you're gonna read out of all these?
I want you to.
Are you gonna tell me what they're about?
How we getting there?
Oh, okay. Okay.
How we getting there? Okay. I want you to look at the cover, read the title. Are you licking my book, sir?
You okay, Bo?
And I want you to read what it's about. Or I can read it.
Okay.
So.
Well, Bo's over here bothering me.
Yeah. Bobo, do you want to lay down or do you want to get on the bed?
Bo, what are you gonna do?
Bobo. Come on.
Oh. He's chilling. All right.
He's just chilling.
Okay. So.
Okay. Which one do you want to start with?
The House on Mango Street.
House on Mango Street. Okay. I love this. A lot of people have the newer cover, which I don't like. And I found this at Goodwill for $4.
Okay.
And this is the 1989 edition. Mia already read this. I let her read it first because I want to annotate it. And so anytime there's a book that we both want to read and I want to annotate it, I let her read it first. But, let's see. Says, The House on Mango Street is the story of Esperanza Cordero, a young girl growing up in the Hispanic quarter of Chicago. For Esperanza, Mango Street is a desolated landscape of concrete and run-down tenements where she discovers the hard realities of life, the fetters of class and gender, and the specter of race, the mysteries of sexuality and more, capturing her thoughts and emotions in poems and stories. And Esperanza is able to rise above hopelessness and create herself a house all on her own. So that's basically what that's about.
Okay.
I do know that it has a lot to do with being a woman in the Latino community and having a that's not a word, a more unique sounding name, and getting made fun of for it and all this stuff. So I do know that has a lot to do with that. Let's see. Now which one?
American Indian Stories.
American Indian Stories. Okay. This is a collection of stories. Some of them are true, some of them are fiction. But it was first written in the 1800s by Zetkala Sa. She's considered one of the first Native American authors to have her work published. And basically it's just all about indigenous life in the 1800s and 1900s, and residential schools, and the American people going more towards the west where she lived and kind of colonizing the area that she lived in. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what this is about. Like I said, like half of the stories are true, half of them are fiction, but they're based on either her life experiences or like other indigenous people's experiences. So yeah.
Let's do Othello.
See, I've been wanting to read this for a while, but I actually don't know what it's about. Don't come for me. Don't come for me. Is it gonna tell me? Or do I gotta look this up? Looks like I gotta look this up, because it does not tell me.
There's no description of the book, not even on the inside?
Some books don't have that, which is super. I do know that, like, I've kind of found that with classics, at least. When did this edition come out? This edition came out in 1993. Let me look up what that was about. I do know that it does have a lot to do with like racism and shit. Or maybe that's Hamlet. Let's see. Yeah, it does have to do with race. It is a tragedy, which is like a play, like a tragic play, pretty much. About Moor, who are people from North Africa who lived in Europe. Basically, it's about his life in Venice as his life basically gets destroyed. And this man named Iago basically manipulates him into believing that his wife is being unfaithful, and he basically murders his wife, and then it's basically about him dealing with racism in Italy, and and being manipulated by all these people, and then him basically spiraling into murdering his wife, and then him going crazy after he realizes that his wife was innocent and all this stuff. So yeah.
Let's see. Weather Girl.
Weather Girl. Okay. So this one is about this girl. She is like, she loves the weather. She loves everything about it. She wants to be a weather girl. And so, excuse me?
Oh.
Anyway, so basically she becomes a meteorologist and starts talking about like the weather and all that. And it's in Seattle. I just found it out. But basically it's like a workplace romance, and her boss is basically kind of a dick, is what I'm getting from this. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. And then basically it looks like she meets one of her coworkers. They decide to band together to kind of get their bosses like, I guess their bosses are in a relationship with each other, and they're trying to get, their bosses are having issues, so they band together to get their bosses like better. Like, I don't know. And they basically fall in love in the process. And the male main character is plus size. So I love that. Because we don't often get plus size main characters in books. So.
Oh, I'm don't reach that high, that low, bro.
Bobo, you're fine. Okay.
How much is this one? Because it's similar to that one as far as cover wise, but it's a different author.
Yeah. This one also has a plus size main character. That's kind of why I chose these. Because I really want to read a plus size romance book. But this one is basically about this woman. She has a bingo partner who's this old lady. That old lady, basically, her grandson, who's kind of estranged, comes into town. And basically they meet and they kind of don't like each other at first, but then they start developing feelings, and it's like another romance and all that stuff. So, yeah. I'm really bad at describing books.
It's okay. We got 4 left. So we got that one, that one, that one, and that one. So which one? Let's do this one. What's it called?
Sure. This one is the Book of Marjorie Count. So.
Oh, where are we going?
Revelations. This is a fiction book based on that. that is nonfiction about a woman named Marjorie Kemp. That is her writing. This is a fiction book inspired by Marjorie Kemp. This is one of my favorite books of all time. And because I read this, I got this, which is the Book of Marjorie Kemp. And basically, it's just all of her writings. Bobo, you're fine. He can't go a second without getting cuddles. I swear. Okay. But basically, this is just all about her writings and her revelations, her visions of God. And her whole thing is she meets this other woman whose name is Julianne of Norwich, who I also really want to read her books that came out. But basically they were just women who started preaching about God and how God was all loving, there was no hell, no nothing. Obviously that's not good for these men who are trying to preach about God, because this is the 1400s, like this is nonfiction, like this is her actual life. This is the 1400s where women were not allowed to preach, women weren't allowed to be able to read the Bible because the Bible only had to be read in Latin. But they started translating it into English. And so basically they were just like huge into the translation of the Bible, spreading the word, all that. And even though I'm not religious, like when I read Revelations, even though it's a fiction book, it got me really interested in Marjorie Kemp and Julianne of Norwich, because they're real women. And they literally went on these journeys to spread the word of God and basically to kind of teach that hell didn't exist and hell was used as a mechanism to scare people into doing what these men basically wanted, which is low-key what I believe in. So, yeah.
Okay. The Prettiest Star.
Prettiest Star. Oh,
you're gonna cry.
Yeah. So I'm currently reading one book. I'm almost done with it. Let me grab it. If I can grab it. Damn. Okay.
Poke your eye out, kid.
This is The Great Believers. Dude, I was so happy when I found this for $2 because I was seriously considering buying it for $20. I found it for $2 at Goodwill. But these two are kind of similar. They're both about being gay during the AIDS movement. Not the AIDS movement, but the AIDS epidemic in the 80s. So, this one, let me read it. In Appalachia. Set in a small town in Appalachia, in 1986. Takes place a year after Rock Hudson's death. Basically, this guy had moved to New York City, and he moves back to his super small town in Appalachia after his partner died of AIDS, and basically is just him navigating moving back to his small town while also dealing with homophobia and obviously this whole stigma about the AIDS epidemic and all that, because it is set during the 80s. Yeah. For some reason, I just read a lot of books about gay men with AIDS. I'm not sure why.
All right, we got 2 left. The Great Gatsby and Harvest of Empire. The Great Gatsby.
Great Gatsby. I feel like this one's pretty obvious. Also, I found out like a year ago. There we go. Okay. So, I read this, but it was years ago when I was a junior in high school. So I remember it because it's like a really famous book. So like there's gonna be stuff that I remember. What's wrong?
Looking at the corner and freaking me out. What's out there? Are you seeing ghosts again?
Anyways, but I found out like a year ago that F. Scott Fitzgerald didn't write this. His wife did, and he took credit for it and published it under his name.
Is that what she said?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what was found, at least. Well, you're fine. You're fine. Which also happened with the game Monopoly.
What?
I found out. It was created by a woman. She was trying to sell it and market it. And then these guys were like, oh, yeah, well, like, we can sell it for you. And then basically they took credit for creating the game. And now Monopoly is like this huge game, and she never got credit for it.
Well, she did now because people know.
Well, yeah. But basically this is about this guy. Why is my book wet below? Anyways, but it's about this guy. He comes back to this town, and he's like super rich now. And basically he has all these parties and all this stuff, and it's drama. Yeah. But it has a lot to do with like class and what is it? Yeah, basically like class in the 1920s and rich and poor and what is it, like being perceived in a certain way or whatever that's called. So I don't remember what that's called. Okay. Last one, Harvest of Empire, A History of Latinos in America.
Hey, I didn't get to choose.
Well, this is literally the last book.
Well, I should have been able to choose. It's too late now. It's too late now.
Anyway, Harvest of Empire by Juan Gonzalez. This is a nonfiction book, and literally, like it says, it's a history of Latinos in America. But basically, it's a bit dated just because this edition came out in like, I think 2000 or 99. It came out like late 90s, early 2000s. So it is a bit dated. But it's basically just literally, like I said, like a history of Latinos in America. But it's all about immigration and colonialism and all that, and how California, Arizona, and New Mexico, all those used to be a part of Mexico up until the like mid 1800s, when people started moving more west, went into what was then Mexico, and now those states are a part of the United States, and it makes sense why those states are named the names that they are, and with them being closer to Mexico and all that. So because it literally used to be Mexico. So, but yeah, and it talks about the Zoot Suit movement in the 60s.
Zoot Suit riots.
Yeah, in the 50s and 60s. It talks about how kids were punished for speaking Spanish, all that, and literally, like, I'll see so many videos of like Latinos who are the children of immigrants, or Latinos who know Spanish, and they will make fun of No Sabo kids. But then I will see a whole bunch of No Sabo kids talk about how their parents or their grandparents literally would get threatened in school, that if they didn't, like, they would get beat in school if they spoke Spanish. Which is literal, actual facts. Because I think that like lasted until like what, the 70s or 80s or something. So I don't know. It's crazy to me. Racism. But it also talks a lot about colorism within the Latino community, and the different experiences of like different Latinos based on like the lighter you are, the darker you are, or if you're Afro Latino, or if you're brown Latino who has more indigenous features. There's another book that I read a few years ago that I really want to get, and it reminds me a lot of. This one reminds me a lot of it.
What?
So it's called Our Migrant Souls, and I read that like a year and a half ago, and it literally changed my life, and was honestly one of the most validating books to read as a No Sabo kid, and as somebody who was always told that like, oh, like you're not Latino enough. So like that book was like so validating, and to also learn like the history of Latinos in Latin America and in the United States and in Canada and all this stuff. And then this book reminds me a lot of that.
You know what book you should find? The one that I had that disappeared over the years. Escape from Slavery. Remember, I've always talked about that book.
So. Speaking of which, there's a book I wanted you to read. Where is it?
Look at all that collection of books down there.
This is one I wanted you to read. It came out in the 1700s, but it's about...
The book came out in the 1700s?
Yeah. Obviously not the edition, but the...
You know how much, if you had the original edition, how much that'd be worth?
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
This is a Penguin Classic. Came out in 2003.
This copy?
Yeah. But it came out in the 1700s, and it's about his experience as a free black man in Britain, I believe. So, yeah.
All right. So it's between two books.
Okay.
Bo. It's between Bet on It
Okay.
and The Prettiest Star. Now, do I want to have you cry when you're already reading one that's going to make you cry over there? Where'd you get that book? Because I've seen it a lot.
This one?
The cover. Yeah. Where'd you get it? Goodwill or?
I got it on Thrift Books.
Oh, come on.
Oh, over here.
We're going to make it something easy. The House on Mango Street.
Okay.
Even though I said it was between those two.
Yeah.
I threw a curveball. There you go. Just because you said Mia already read it.
We were talking about it, and she
Bruh.
said that she really related to it, just because I feel like I won't.
What's it about again?
It's basically about this girl. She lives in a Hispanic community in Chicago, and it's basically about her journey, coming into womanhood as a teenager, and discovering her identity as a Latina with a unique name and all this stuff. And Mia said that she related to it. I feel like I won't relate to it just because Mia related to it on the fact that she's got a more unique name and she's obviously tanner than I am. I'm literally white as ghost. So definitely in those aspects I feel like I won't relate to it. But I feel like
You're still going to read it.
I'm still going to read it, and I feel like...
Well, you don't have a choice. That's the book I chose.
Yeah. But I feel like there's many things that I'm going to find... not similar or something, but I'm gonna find, I guess, similarity to our family. Because there was one book that I read, where there were some things I related to, but then there were some things where I was like, oh, it reminded me of stories that you would tell me, or it reminds me of our family and stuff like that. Because this is a collection of different stories about Latinos. One of the stories, it was about this girl. She was talking about how her and her brother would be sitting at a table while their grandma would literally sharpen a machete on a slab. And like I've told you before, it reminded me of when you're with your grandma and she's over here cutting cactus and stuff.
Yeah, and my grandpa would sharpen machetes as to make extra money.
Yeah.
People would come to him.
There was another one that reminded me of some people in our family, and it was basically about this woman. She had immigrated to the United States from Mexico, because pretty much every character in the book is from Mexico, or their family's from Mexico. But she immigrated to the United States from Mexico with her kids to escape her abusive husband. And it's basically her journey while he's trying to track her down. But it's a lot about abuse in the Latino community and how a lot of times people try to kind of like, I don't want to say justify it, but that is really what it is. Like I feel like there's a lot of people in the Latino community who try to justify the abuse, or who try to make it more lighthearted than it actually is.
Yeah.
Like different comments that maybe like somebody's deal will make, and like all this stuff. I'm just like, anyways, yeah. But this kind of reminds me of this, and they're both short books.
Cool.
That was it.
All right, there you go. We'll come back to review that one when you're done with it for a separate video.